Good evening, everybody. This is Bob Macedonio. Welcome to Street Legal. We're here every Thursday, 6 p.m. on 103.9 LI News Radio. My firm name, Macedonio & Duncan. We're located at 126 Carlton Avenue, Islip Terrace, 631-582-3232. And I'm here with my co-host, Link.
What's going on, everybody? Glad to have y'all with us. Good to be here with y'all. As usual, I want to remind y'all, starting off, you want to stay free,
Gotta call BOB. We have the Link. We have the upcoming election in a couple weeks, which is a very important election in New York. We're electing a new governor, bunch of congressmen. It's important. Like, New York's experiencing some tough times with crime, and people are flocking out of the state. So we have a caller online, and we have Jesse Garcia is the chairman of the Suffolk County Republican Party, as well as Brookhaven Republican Party. And we're going to bring Jesse in and some of the reasons why we should be voting for his slate of candidates. So whenever we can put Jesse through, we're ready to go. Jesse.
Hey, Bobby, Link, thanks for having me on.
What's going on, Jesse?
I appreciate it. And for those of you, we have Jesse Garcia is the Suffolk County chairman of the Republican Party, as well as the Brookhaven chairman. And Jess, our show tonight, we have the upcoming elections, which is very important for New York. And, we have, last year, I just pulled out a number, Jess, 76,790 people left New York State last year and fled.
What was that number again?
76,000.
Damn.
Jess, what's going on in this state that's driving people out? Like, what do you see the problems being? What do we need to do with our election cycle that we could change some of this?
The problems are, we see them every day. We see them on our social media. We see them on our TVs. We read them in the newspapers. And, we hug our children very tightly because there is rampant crime growing out throughout the suburbs and New York City and upstate New York. The laws that the Democrats have put in place here in the state of New York have basically handcuffed cops and judges, yet given a get out of free jail card to criminals. We have a revolving door criminal justice system here in New York because of this cashless bail. And the first order of business of any government is to keep its citizenry safe. The Democrats have failed. Kathy Hochul has failed. The Democrats that control both the Assembly and the State Senate have failed. And right now, we're seeing crime an increase at a historic mark. I mean, you can't turn on the TV or read a newspaper any day, maybe even sometimes 2 or 3 times a day, where a cop is not being accosted, a young Asian or Asian individual is being attacked, or someone's being thrown in front of a train, or just because there's cashless bail and there's no reason, you get arrested, you get out in an hour because there's no bail and no discretion to judges. You go into a CVS, you take all their stuff, you walk out, you get arrested, you're back out and you're stealing something from a Walgreens.
That's it, Jess. It almost seems like the state is bending over backwards to help the criminals. Like, it doesn't seem like the average working mom, dad, person, whether you're black, white, Spanish, whatever you may be, we all want the same things for our kids. We all want the same things for our families. But what the policies that are being put into this state by the progressive Democrats seem to benefit the criminals.
Just quick question.
Absolutely.
What do you think that was instated for? What was the purpose of that? And where do you think that the thinking went wrong in it?
Here's where it went to. There were some people who, for certain crimes, could not afford bail. And Bobby's a lawyer here. He's defending them both as a prosecutor and as a criminal defense attorney. Right. Some people who did not have the means to make bail.
To bail out.
So what they did, the far left progressive Democrats that control Albany, they didn't do the right thing. They didn't gather prosecutors, advocates for victims, advocates for those in need of bail reform. They didn't bring former judges in or law professors in at a series of hearings and come forward with a good law. No, you know what they did? They wrote a law that would give them a political headline, make political sway with the far left progressives, and they stuck it in a budget.
Correct. Jess, the other thing which I'm in the criminal justice system. I practice criminal defense law every single day. What they did is they took away any judicial discretion. So the judge that's sitting on that case, that hears that case, that knows that person's criminal record, their background, they've taken away that discretion of allowing them to set some type of bail or set some type of restrictions on how they should return to court. And now they put it into the hands of the progressive Democrats in Albany that really don't know what's going on.
Right.
They really don't. And that was just getting to that point. And just think about it. We are the only state out of 50 that has no judicial discretion. The federal government has federal discretion. This is unbelievable. We are on an island on ourselves, and that's why we see rampant crime. That's why we see stores closing. Between COVID mandates and closures and this crime spree that's going forward, it's going out of control, and people are scared. For the first time ever. And you know what? Let's talk about David Patterson, the former governor of New York, Democrat governor of New York. He said on another radio station, he lived through the 70s in New York City.
Correct.
He lived through the 1990s in New York City.
It was horrible. The only thing that straightened out New York City back then was Rudy Giuliani came in.
That's not true. I disagree.
No. Rudy Giuliani came in and cleaned up New York City. It was a very crime rampant place.
Giuliani came in and violated so many people's rights. But if you want to look at the overall outcome, I would have to agree. But the method he went about it, I agree with you saying about the outcome. But the method that he used, that he employed, was not something I'll ever condone.
But the methods that he used were those methods that at that point in time were found to be justified and whatnot. So
if you go against the Constitution, you can't use a word like justified.
That's a he didn't go against the Constitution. He did what he had. He did what he had to do to get the city cleaned up.
By violating people's constitutional rights.
Run rampant with crime.
People's constitutional rights,
and that crime was spreading out to the suburbs. Yesterday, Jesse, 20 cars were stolen in Queens alone. Yesterday.
Okay, Jesse, do you break the law to uphold the law?
Wow,
there we go. That's what we're talking about. We're talking about a constitutional conflict where he's breaking the law to uphold the law.
We got to get back.
All right, let's get back.
All of our communities, whether you're black, white, Hispanic, we all want the same things for our families. We want safe schools. You want good quality education. You want to be able to put your kid out in the bus stop, not having to worry about that kid getting robbed or something stolen from it. Right. We don't have that now. This county and this state is run rampant with crime because the criminals know there's no ramifications for the crime.
There's nobody, right? Like maybe the people who got currently released who believes that a cashless bail was a good idea. We was trying to end ransom so that when you got in front of a judge for arraignment, he didn't give you a bail that you couldn't possibly afford.
But those were small examples. They took it and magnified and blew it up out of proportion. Yeah. There was very few cases where there was ransom bail set. And really has to go back to judicial discretion, Jesse. We need to put in, legislators, assembly people, senators, governor. We need to elect Lee Zeldin as our next governor. Lee understands what's going on. Lee's a crime fighter.
Let's talk about Lee.
Jess, look what happened last week in front of Lee's house in Shirley, which is a neighborhood link you're very familiar with.
Yeah.
In Shirley, there was a shooting 30 feet from his house.
Shooting came to the very steps.
He lives around the corner from me. I know. It's crazy. It's crazy to hear because, and the craziest thing is, I don't want to get too involved because we are on the radio, but once you hear about the people involved and like what it was over and all that, the crazy things, it's crazy that literally landed on his doorstep.
Correct.
Like that's nuts. Like
but that could have been any one of us.
Yeah.
And it could have been one of our children that been right there. So why should we have to live like that?
No, I don't condone it, and I don't think bullets flying around while kids are in the house trying to do homework is a good idea. I'm completely against any of that. I do feel like it gave the Republican Party, especially Lee Zeldin, a stronger talking point because look, it's literally landing on my steps. Like it's hard to avoid at that point. You couldn't even stage something like that. It was I don't know, but I think that what he could do with that and the fact that provides so much proof that especially violent crime has gone up so much that it needs to be addressed immediately. That's just one example of it right there.
Well, you got people that are being put back out on the streets after they commit a crime. Sometimes the person is back out on the street before the police officer finishes the paperwork. That's a problem.
Yeah,
that's a problem.
Yeah,
that's a big problem.
Yeah,
that's a big problem. We have a great district attorney that was elected with Jesse's help this year, Ray Tierney, who understands. He's a crime fighter, and Ray's doing a tremendous job out there. And I know he's working hard to try to have the bail reform revisited or have something change in the Jesse. I know you're working very well with Ray, and hopefully we get Lee in there. And we can have some quality people that can start putting some changes forth. That this state, this is one of the greatest states in the country. We always looked at as the premier state. We're going down. We're losing people every single year. And Jess, we're not losing. We're losing the people that are the high income earners, the ones that bring jobs here, the ones that bring the good portions of New York. We're not keeping the good people here. They're getting the hell out.
Right. And you also got the daughter of Michael Esposito. She's running for position right now. That's Lieutenant Governor Allison Esposito.
Correct. Yeah, met Allison, great person.
Right.
But Jess, we're going to do what we have to do, and we appreciate all your hard work out there with the Republicans and obviously our conservative party. We're going to do what we can do to get Lee elected, and we appreciate you calling in. We're going to take a short break. This is Street Legal. We'll be back in a few short minutes. I'm Bob Macedonio here with my co-host Link. We're here every Thursday from 6 p.m. to 7 on 103.9 LI News Radio.
You want to stay free? Call BOB.
Bob Macedonio. We're back. This is Street Legal. We're here every Thursday, 6 p.m., 103.9 LI News Radio. My firm name, Macedonio and Duncan, located 126 Carlton Avenue, Islip Terrace, 631-582-3232. And here, my co-host, Link. We're going to pick up. I said, we got an important election cycle coming up in a few weeks. And I don't care what kind of neighborhood you're from, where your background's from, whether you're white, black, Spanish, Haitian, it doesn't matter. I think at the end of the day, all families, all people want the same thing for their children.
To be safe.
And you know what? In all honesty, even the criminals want the same thing for their children.
Right.
And I have a very busy criminal defense practice, and I know each one of my clients personally. Whatever they do, and I don't judge what they do, they want the same thing for their children that I want, that you want.
Right.
So what is it that New York's lacking right now that crime is running so rampant?
Criminal diversion. We have no criminal diversion program. So if you want to get right into crime, you can, because the alternatives therefore it's not there. It's like, you know what? We got a higher crime rate. Let's just build more jails, right? But you haven't fixed the problem.
The jails are at the lowest population right now because of bail reform. So the jails they're closing down jails. So I don't think that's the problem.
No, that is a problem, because if you think about it like this, right? And the people that's committing these crimes are like the violent ones especially, are so young. We're talking about a younger population of people doing this now. This is not like the people that are in their 20s and up. We're talking about people that are like all under the age of 19, all running around with guns that are digitally printed through a printer.
So where are these guns coming from?
They get 3D printed. That's what they do with these 3D printers now. They no longer need to manufacture guns down south and have them shipped to New York. You can just print them out.
I don't understand that process. You can print a gun out of a printer.
Yeah, it's a 3D printer. It actually prints physical things into existence. So they do that with a lot of the gun parts. And so anything that you can make your computer understand, it will print that with one of those 3D printers.
But let me get back to New York.
Yeah.
What's going on in New York, Link, that we're losing 76,000 people a year? This is the fourth straight year that New York's lost population. And since 2010, we've lost 1.4 million residents. And we're not losing the low income, right? We're losing the people that own the businesses, that start the companies, that want to employ people. So we're losing the foundation of our state. We are going to become, if this continues in the state, a third world country in New York State.
Well, let's say we get Lee Zeldin elected, right?
Correct.
Well, what we were hopeful from him is that he would give people initiative, right? And like create these programs where people have something else. Like why aren't kids taught finance? I don't understand. Why aren't they taught entrepreneurship? Why aren't they taught? You're taught how to fill out an application for jobs you probably don't qualify for. I don't think that what's here considered as options for the people that are getting into the kind of trouble that we're talking about right now. There are no options for those people.
But what's gone on in this state, and this is a unique time right now, we have one party controls the entire government, all three branches.
Right.
Okay, so what you have is the progressive Democrats have now taken over with these irrational ideas and pushed them through.
Right.
And just rubber stamped by the governor there. And Kathy Hochul's going to do the same thing. She's a rubber stamp for the progressive Democrats.
Right.
If we're fortunate enough to get a gentleman like Lee Zeldin elected, Lee is a sound mind. He's not going to have control of three branches of government.
Right.
But you're going to bring people to the table to come up with real solutions and have real conversations.
And that's what we need.
As opposed to what's going on now, which is just the few in the minority progressive party shoving these.
I really, and I'm having a hard time.
Because if you sit down with the average American, I don't care, black, white, Spanish, low income, high income, and you tell them bail reform, that I'm going to go in and I could go, commit X crime and I'm going to get out with no bail. I think most people don't agree with that.
I don't. Listen, I'm literally just coming out of being a criminal. I'm going to say I've been out of trouble for about 7 years, right? About 7 years crime free. So what I'll say is I don't like that. And I'm not jealous because
let me ask you a question because you brought that up.
Right.
You've been arrested before.
Yeah.
You had to post bail.
Right.
Okay, when you're out on bail, you're less likely to commit a crime because you're thinking, if I got to go back in front of that judge that just set $5,000 bail on me and I did something new, I'm going to jail until my case gets resolved.
It's a consideration, but you also have to think about this too. Like, and this is from criminal thinking, right? If you get locked up for something, right, you got to think about the kind of financial deficit that you introduced to now, right? Because you got to pay this lawyer, you got to post bond, right? You got to post bond. Now you back out and you back flat broke again. Right?
You lose your income while
you're under a lot of pressure. Maybe you didn't give your lawyer all the money. You still owe him some. Maybe you gave enough to retain, but you didn't pay your full balance. So now you're under a lot more pressure. And I'm not blaming that on the lawyer. I'm not blaming that on anything. I'm just telling you the
also got to put to the point, and we discuss this.
Right.
at some point, the criminals have to stop blaming the system and take responsibility for their actions.
I think you can only blame the system because if the system only incarcerates but makes, why would you call a building a correctional facility?
The system doesn't.
Nah. Let me say this. Why would you call this place a correctional facility and offer no correction, bro? That's a real thing. You cannot know because that's what white America does. They shut you up when you're trying to say something.
You know this to be true. It takes
bro,
a good amount of time before you get to a correctional.
I know it to be true that if it's called a correctional facility, they should take corrective measures.
Let me talk because it takes 30 years in practicing.
Yes.
It takes a good amount of time to be arrested before you actually go hit an upstate correctional facility unless you committed a serious crime. So that's BS. Okay, so
no, it's not BS.
Probation is supposed to help you. You go on probation before you go to jail.
Probation never helped me.
You didn't give it a chance.
No, they didn't give me the chance. They didn't give me the chance.
No, you didn't give probation a chance.
Oh, you think these systems that the
you
government
went on probation and you still continue hustling, right?
Absolutely.
Okay,
I came to probation with product on me.
How? There you go. You came to probation with product. So you were never given probation a chance. You never went with open mind.
Probation never did anything to me except monitor. It didn't offer me anything.
At that point in time in your life, you didn't want to be fixed.
No, I didn't have a route. I have no route to be fixed. You telling me just stop doing this because you're on probation and then do what?
But seek the guidance.
Hey, nobody want to talk about the alternatives because there are none. It's like, stop selling drugs and making money and just sit back and not know what to do now. No one is going to take that as advice because you know what they need.
But it wasn't the government's job. It wasn't the government's job to get me a job. It wasn't the government's job to put me through law school. It wasn't the government's job to get me.
I kept my kids from being in trouble by offering them different alternatives, right? I didn't let the streets decide what was going to happen with my children. I provided things that would keep them busy.
So why did you let the streets decide what happened to you?
Because my parents did not do that with me.
But they were both good, hardworking people.
Yeah, but that was an example. They was also caught up in a system where they were crackheads. Don't forget that. My parents were both crackheads, so they weren't as functional as I am as a parent. And I don't hold my parents accountable for that. I hold the error.
Listen, I'm not going to hold anybody's parents accountable. Right. But at some point in time, at some age, no matter what your color is, whatever your race is, you have to take responsibility for your actions and stop blaming the government.
I think there are things that you can stop doing once you find out something else to do. Like, look at me. Crime free. However, I had to figure out what else I needed to be doing. And you talking about these kids who are lost with no leadership, not knowing what to do whatsoever. But you just tell them, just stop doing this. Fine. And then do what?
But there's something that goes in that kid's head that puts a gun in his hand to go up and rob somebody.
That's all the kid got around him.
No, I can't believe that because
then go hang. You've been there with me, bro. We've been to every hood. Me and you together. We've been to every hood. You cannot say.
I've been to every hood, and I think that every single person has the opportunity to be saved and become something good in life. I really do believe that.
If offered an alternative from what it is they're doing.
But you got to seek that alternative. You have to seek that alternative. You can't constantly just blame the system. Blame the system.
Should be offered. If they see you have a problem, let's say the system.
Blame the government why I don't live in a nice house. Blame the government why I don't have a good car. Blame the government while I have no money for food.
Let's say this. What do you think it costs more? To educate a man or to house him in jail for 2 years?
To house him in jail for 2 years.
All right. So why wouldn't we educate a man if that's the cheapest
Because that man has to want to be educated.
Yeah. If you think that having jail as the alternative to his education, he's not going to choose education.
You've been upstate in jail, right?
Absolutely.
How many people find God in jail?
I don't know.
How many people find God in jail?
I wasn't in the maximum, bro. I was where everybody had
How many people request a Bible when they go to jail?
They give you one.
Okay, but there's a church in every corner. How many of them went to church when they were out?
Nobody. Listen,
exactly.
That whole facility is fake it to make it. It's not even like you in there trying to like do anything real because everything they offering you is fake.
The other thing, how many times I stand in court before a guy gets sentenced, all of a sudden, he can't get his hair cut because he's such religious.
Yeah. And how come?
If you were such religious, why were you not in church? Why were you not committing crimes?
Can Lee Zeldin make it so that when people actually finish these programs that they take enough state that they can leave certified?
Lee Zeldin cannot single-handedly do anything. He needs people to work with him. But I think what will go on, he would be a great governor. What it'll do if you have a different party in different positions, instead of having one party rule, it'll force people to the table to come up with reasonable solutions.
Yeah. Well,
that's what we need.
Lee Zeldin, if you're out there, you may not know this, but when you're upstate as a prisoner, when they put you through these programs to educate you, whether it be roofing, flooring, whatever it is, they never certify you. So you come home with some jail experience about how to do the work, but no certification so that you're not taken seriously. I don't know if you know that. If you can fix it, please.
Link, you got to get to the problem before they go upstate to jail. The person has to look in the mirror and say, you know what? I'm not going to go out and rob the 7-Eleven. I'm not going to go shoot up this house.
But they got to stop being oppressed by the society that you're talking about.
We got to stop with the oppression. That stuff. Slavery was 300 years ago.
Nah,
we got to stop with that.
Still happening right now. Banking right now still that's black.
There's
oppression.
More opportunity for minorities than there are for a white guy today. More.
I couldn't have bought my house by myself. I tell you that. Thanks, lady.
More opportunities out there for minorities.
You want to stay free.
We will be back in a short minute. This is Bob Macedonio. We're here every Thursday with Street Legal, 103.9 LI News Radio.
Office number 631-582-3232.
Remember, you want to stay free.
Call BOB.
Welcome back. This is Bob Macedonio. We're here with Street Legal. We're here every Thursday, 6 p.m., 103.9 LI News Radio. My firm name, Macedonio and Duncan, 126 Carlton Avenue, Islip Terrace, 631-582-3232. Our next segment is sponsored by Michael J. Brown, attorney at law. Mike does all the personal injury needs for our firm. His phone number is 631-232-9700. We appreciate Mike Brown being a sponsor for tonight's show. But Link, let's pick up, where we left off. At some point, we have to stop blaming the government, and people have to take a good hard look in the mirror and say, I don't want to go down this road anymore. I know you're going to sit here and tell me that people in the minority communities that commit these crimes don't know the difference between right and wrong?
They don't know alternatives.
But forget about it. Do they know the difference between right and wrong?
Yeah, they still got to feed their kids.
When you grow up and you're 2, 3, 4 years old, you know not to steal, right?
Right.
Okay, so you know what's right and you know what's wrong.
Right.
So why do you continue going down that path? It's easier for me to steal.
Because that's what's not available to you. And for anybody else who don't understand that question, people move about like that because of what's not available to them. We cannot sit here and pretend like my life was as privileged as Bob's was. My life was not. I had 2 crackhead parents. Okay. I had to be out selling drugs to provide for myself. I don't want to sit here and defend something that's indefensible to ask me. You cannot ask me why these people are doing this. Why do people steal from stores? We live in a society with laws. If you're going to go out and do that, the laws are against the people that are doing
going to live
bro.
in a society with laws, you have to realize there's going to be ramifications when crimes are committed.
Or you have to change the condition, like what Kanye's doing right now. I'm very impressed.
It'll be a complete free-for-all.
Right. What Kanye's doing, I'm impressed because you know what he's doing? He's taking entrepreneurship to a new level that is so inspiring. No, and I'm not telling you I agree with his antics. I'm not agreeing with his anti-Semitic conversation. I'm not agreeing with any of those things.
But look what he also said about George Floyd.
Yeah, he died of fentanyl.
He had the whatever you want to call it, the balls to come out and say he died of fentanyl overdose, not with a knee on his neck.
Yeah. Okay? I think that what he said was, and I want to try and quote it, was that fentanyl was also detected in this autopsy, and that was just blown out of proportion by the time I seen it. I actually watched the whole interview. Yeah. So I'm telling you a quote that he said was not that George Floyd died from fentanyl, but along with the autopsy also showed that he had fentanyl in his bloodstream. By the time I woke up the next morning, they had misquoted everything that he said, and just like now the George Floyd family was upset. So many different artists was upset with him because it seemed like such an insensitive thing to say, but no one's looking at the fact that it was flipped around.
Let me just get back. You said you need to bring out change, and we've talked about this on previous shows.
Right.
For the last 60 years, the minority communities have consistently, in the 90 percentile, voted Democrat.
Right.
Yet they're expecting all these changes and are promised all these changes every year. Kathy Hochul's promising all these changes.
Right.
What's different? You've sold a false bill of goods for 60 years.
Right.
What do you have to lose by voting for Lee Zeldin for change?
I don't think that anybody in the black community is going to be against Lee Zeldin because for what we also
but people in the black community are not going to vote for a white Jew. Let's just get it out there. And you know that's true. Because they've been embedded to agree that we have to vote Democrat.
How many black people have you spoken to in the community about Lee Zeldin?
But they don't need to be spoken to because
they do because you're assuming that they won't when I've had these conversations.
It's almost like they're conditioned to just vote on a Democratic line, not even read the name.
And that part is true.
You could put Mickey Mouse's name in that line, they're going to pull the lever for it.
No, because you know what it is? You're talking about a presidential election as opposed to these like every 2 years.
I'm talking about
elections.
It's even higher the local races.
I'm about to check it out because I can't believe it. I know a lot of people who talking Lee Zeldin and they look like me. A lot of the people that look like me are talking Lee Zeldin
because it's slowly catching on. People are slowly catching on to the BS that's being sold by the parties. And
I agree. The Democrats have nothing to offer us. I do think that as like I was talking to my guy earlier, the Special Select Committee, they're on to something. But what they doing, and it's so politically driven that I can't get with what they doing. You get what I'm saying? Like the whole point is to take them down, put them in jail, lock them up. That's
not the whole point. I don't.
I'm talking about with Trump. That's what they're trying to do. Just lock them down, put them in jail. I'm talking about these.
Because Trump makes you listen to him. Trump talks sensible stuff. I mean, we may not his delivery, we may not like his Twitter, we may not like all the way he does it, but Trump makes sense.
Right. I figured out while sitting here why nobody want to discuss.
I saw an interview the other night. They talk about people that say Trump's racist. This goes back to the 70s and 80s, and it was I caught the tail end of the interview. We talk about Trump and whether he's racist. People didn't even know. there was some black entrepreneurs, black construction people that were starting all companies. Trump gave them the seed money to start their companies. He didn't ask for any fanfare. He didn't go out and advertise it. So they came to him.
I don't think Trump is racist. I think that's a media narrative.
Why does the Democratic Party have to point out if a person's going to vote Republican and they're black, they're racist? Why have to paint that person racist? Is that the only thing they have to say? Why not vote on what the person
There's some
has to
accountability
offer?
on Trump's end too, because you're taking support from groups that we know to be white supremacist groups. We know to be white power groups, and you telling these people on national television to stand by for your election, right? So we see you showing support to those people. But you have the same. No, it can't be blind. That's why we
listen. I don't think anybody agrees with the far left or the far right. We all are within a certain center, because you have the same thing on the far left that are shooting up, killing abortion doctors.
Yeah, but they're not running for office. This guy, you're talking about somebody who's running for office, right? Versus somebody who's running up shooting abortion doctors. It's not the same thing. When you're running for office, there's a certain accountability that you have to have as a public figure.
What about the college campuses being infiltrated with stifling free speech? If you're a conservative Republican on a college campus today, you have to keep your mouth shut in class. You can't speak out because your classmates are going to ban you. They don't let speakers come on campus. They ban them. They protest. Right. Why?
Let me ask you a question.
If you was black, country about free speech?
Yes. If you was black, let me ask you something. Would you take up an issue with your president standing there with a white supremacist group and showing support to them? If you was a black person here in America, would you take up an issue with that?
Did I take up an issue with?
Nah. I'm asking you. No. I'm like, you about to divert? Go ahead, do your thing.
Did I take up an issue when Al Sharpton stood there with Barack Obama?
They supposed to stand.
Al Sharpton is the biggest racist in this state.
Why would you say that?
Because he perpetrated one of the biggest frauds on had a guy accused of raping a girl that never happened. That's how he came to his whole being came. Now he sits on a radio show because they give him money, give him a thing to shut him up, to keep him out there. Al Sharpton is the biggest racist this country's ever seen.
I don't think that's defined by anything. But if you say so, then I'll look into it.
That man hates white people.
All right, I'll say that there's a certain distaste that they will leave in your mouth if you go through things think about what his era was like.
But why should you hate anybody before you met them?
How are none of these things
considered? Why should you hate anybody before you met them?
Because of your treatment. You know how he was probably treated in the 50s and 60s? You're just going to negate that. Yeah, it doesn't count.
Yeah.
No trauma from that. He should be fine. No, but this is what I want to say. All right, so we talking about how we never talk about how no part of the system ever offers any criminal defendant actual correction.
I don't.
That's going to be a talking point that I played for a long time.
Because by the time you end up incarcerated,
by the time
you end up incarcerated, you have committed crime after crime after crime, and the other portions of the justice system has failed before they throw you in jail. That's the fact.
Because what we now need to do, because they say this, right, that you have to reteach those who have been taught wrong, right? And we could both agree that they've been taught wrong, right? We can both agree to get an education from your neighborhood, which promotes drugs, violence, alcohol, and all of these different negative things. You have been taught wrong, and I can say that because I was taught wrong.
We have DWI is a major problem in this county because we're in an area where you need to drive to get somewhere. There's not public transportation. Right. We all know drinking and driving is a crime.
Right.
We all think about it. Before you get in that car, you know how many drinks you have. Black, white, Spanish.
Right.
Correct? Mm-hmm. Okay. We also know having an illegal weapon is a crime, correct?
Right.
So why do people go out carrying the gun knowing it's a crime?
Because I want to go home. I'm bringing my gun with me because I want to go home.
Too, but you can't drive your car home when you're drunk.
I don't think you should be drunk with a gun. I think that's like...
No, I'm talking about driving a car. If you know drunk driving is a crime, you know having a gun is a crime,
right?
Why are you picking and choosing what crimes you commit?
I feel like you targeting my rap sheet.
I'm not talking to anybody. No, I didn't even know you had a deal. You got Gabby drive you home anyway, so you're good.
Rap sheet looking crazy and you just sit here naming it up.
I'm saying people choose to commit these crimes. Right. It's not government force. It's not...
I think
you have to make the conscientious decision to commit a crime.
We're very irresponsible, and I'm very accountable for that. Like I know,
but you want to blame the system. You want to blame the government.
No, not for my actions. I don't want to blame them for my actions. I want to blame them for not providing me with something. Because let's say right now, I want to go and do something great. Like I'll start a company. I have nowhere to go within government right now, or at least no direction that I know about right now directly to link any of those things that I might want to put in play because I'm starved for those resources.
I come in a different mindset. I don't look for the government to do anything for me. I look for me to do it. And when people look for the government to do it, that's why this country's failing.
Middle class thinking as opposed to low class thinking.
The government was not put here they were put here to govern us, not bring us up, not help us, to govern us.
They were here to help us, yes.
You're wrong. That's not the reason this country was formed. We broke away from other countries because of that. This is Street Legal. We'll be back in a few short minutes. This is Bob Macedonio, 631-582-3232. My firm name, Macedonio & Duncan. We'll be back in a short minute.
Peace.
is Bob Macedonio. We're back with Street Legal here every Thursday night, 103.9 LI News Radio. My firm name, Macedonio and Duncan, 126 Carlton Avenue, Islip Terrace. And I'm here with my co-host, Link. And, we got a little hot topic going tonight. Link, we got the...
Bob think that.
We got the upcoming election. We got the upcoming election. We need change in New York, Link.
Bob think you can go to a third world country and just tell them do better.
Dude, but this is not a third world country.
Just tell them do better.
This is not a third world country. This is the United States of America, the land of the opportunity.
Third world. I'm from it. I'm telling you, I'm from a third world part of our country, bro.
You're not from a third world part of the country.
This is what I'm gonna do. When I leave here, I'm gonna go to wine and be like, you know what the problem is? Y'all need to do better, and I'm gonna leave. And I solved the problems. Okay. I solved everything. Look at me. This is how I know that I should have gotten a PhD instead of a bachelor, because look how I came up with this ingenious way. We're going to use your method and just go to wine and be like, yo, y'all got to do better.
We're going to pull up with the new S580, right? Go into the
That's
dance.
it. Right.
Y'all need to do better, right?
Right. That's it. Because no, they're not going to be jealous or be hating because you pulled up in the S580 and they can't even afford it.
I earned it, Link.
And that's how they feel about everything they got.
Really? So,
yes.
Slinging rock, doing whatever you're doing.
Was productive.
That's earning it. Knowing you leaving that house every day, knowing you're committing a crime, you think that's earning it.
I think that's
the easy way out. That's the cop out. That's the excuse. That's it is.
I know. I don't agree with that, because I think that if let's just say one of these guys that you're talking about, right, had the education and qualification to be able to make $150,000 a year, you think they'd be on the corner doing that?
No, because
then.
What they are
that's
seeing,
all I'm trying to say.
They're not seeing. They don't want to wait. They don't want to. They want it all.
You don't know what
now.
They want, because the opportunity has never been presented to them.
Now they
don't know that.
0 to 100 real quick.
We would have to experiment with actually providing people with correction before we could count out anything.
Your rap song. What's that? What's that song? 0 to 100.
Yeah.
What is it? How's it go?
0 to 100 real quick.
Okay, that's what the minority community wants. That's the problem.
That's
they
not
don't
true.
Want to take the step.
You hear this guy right now? Yo, I love you.
They want 0 to 100 real quick
right now. You're way on base. I'm not gonna say you out of touch, because I actually talk to you about everything in the world. But I will say this:
I'm a 50-year-old lawyer, pulls up on an S580, got my education, paid off my student loans, do what I had to do,
right?
And they want that 580 at 19 years old and don't care what they got to do to get it. They're not going to put the price I put to pay it. They don't want to take the price to put it in.
Listen, I'm
seriously.
You know me. I was going to get the 580 one way or another, but that's not the point. Was this right? The point is, you were provided these opportunities and you took the initiative.
By who? All
right. You came up with a dad who was law enforcement,
Suffolk County cop.
You came up with a mom who was also professional. You also had a stepdad who was professional.
Okay.
We're talking about within these households.
But
there are no professionals in them.
I also went to school.
No. We're talking about within these households. There are no professionals. There are no professionals in those households. So we don't have nobody to look up to.
Listen, it's all available on TV today. We all watch the same shows. We all see the same things.
That's right. Let the kids the kids be raised by TV episodes.
That's what's going on anyway.
Fresh Prince need to raise them.
That's what's going on anyway.
Fresh Prince to raise these kids. Listen, bro, all I'm suggesting is that we give actual correction and opportunity within the correctional facility.
Barack Obama, former president of the United States.
Right.
Grew up in a poverty-stricken household. Father was from Africa. The mother was from Hawaii, correct? Mm-hmm. Okay. How did he make it to president of the United States? Same. Grew up in a.
Don't nobody care about these special blacks you talking about. You talking about Special Olympic blacks who got gold medals. I'm talking about your average, everyday black American.
You gotta want to do something.
People who reach for the stars. Like, we're talking about people who don't even have the mind state to think about ever being a president. But if you reach for the stars
and you don't make the star, but you make the moon, it's okay.
No, bro. You know what the average black kid walk around feeling like they can't be president in this country, even though we already have Barack Obama? Because where they came from, they walking around, they see the houses dilapidated. And this is another thing for anybody within the black community. If you don't start by buying your community, you will never take a sincere interest in doing anything positive for your community. The only way to have a sincere interest is if you start to buy property within your community. Then all of a sudden you'll be worried about the value of it. Then you'll keep it clean. Then you'll stop letting people destroy it. You won't have spray paint. This is what we need to do to change it.
That doesn't take the government to do that. That's in your own mindset.
I didn't speak to the government.
We all know what nice houses look like. Don't you want to live in a nice house?
I do.
So why do the houses look the way they look in there? Why?
Because they don't own them. And so the landlords landlords don't come to fix them up like that. Because
you lease a car, you rent a car, it still looks good. You still take it to the car wash.
Right. So, but I'm not about to sit here and do this guy's floors. This is his property, and this is property value.
But you
goes
live
up.
there. You have sense of pride.
It doesn't matter. He still owns the home. It
don't matter.
All right, I own 5 homes, right?
Yep.
If a tenant calls me and says, this is wrong, that's wrong, that tenant don't have to replace the refrigerator. That tenant don't have to replace the floors, because at the end of the day, that's my property and I'm responsible for maintaining its value. If something in there is now not working, I've taken away from the value of my own house by not going to repair that thing, right? So no matter what, that falls on the landlord. And if you don't have to pay for a floor because it's the landlord's actual job, why would you?
All right, Link, we got to get back to the politics here. We got an important election coming up in a few short weeks. We got November 8th is election day this year. Let me just check it and make sure I'm right on the date here. We have November 8th, okay? Election day. We need to get out and elect people that are going to bring about change. We need to start doing that. We need to start paying attention to what the politicians are saying, what they're doing, what they're offering, whether you got to go on and read it. If you're registered to vote, please educate yourself. And stop just going down and pulling the lever because someone else told you to pull the lever. New York is suffering some bad problems. We have people flocking out of the state.
Yeah, I didn't know the number was that high. That's a ridiculous number, 70,000.
Last year. And it's the high income earners. The 150,000 plus people are leaving.
Wow.
And those are the people that have the jobs here that are,
Long Island has also become a very expensive.
Long Island is where the highest percent of exiting coming from Long Island. People are just tired of it here.
Is that in the whole state of New York?
California, Jersey, and Connecticut are the 3 highest outbound states. You know what they all have in common? They're all run by progressive Democrat governors. So what is that telling you? The policies are not working. They're not working. Give Zeldin a chance. Give the Republicans a chance. Let's elect some people that have common sense.
I'm off of Zeldin. But I also, and this is another thing.
To all you Democrats out there, we love you. But the Democrats from JFK, from Kennedy, don't exist anymore. The Democrats of today are the AOCs, the people that are so far out of touch, and they don't really care about the day in and day out lives of the minority community. They really, really don't. That progressive Democratic Party does not care about the daily lives of the minority community. Trust me. They're there for themselves. They're there putting millions of dollars in the bank. They're there to promote themselves. That's all they're doing. They will not help the minority community one bit.
I also haven't heard not a single one of these candidates talk directly to the black community either.
They're not welcome.
I guess that's a reason not to address them.
You have a lot of influence in Wyandanch. Yeah. I guarantee you set up a forum, invite Lee Zeldin to get there. I'll make sure he's there.
Say that. All right.
Okay. I'm serious.
All right. I just said all right. I'll do it.
Whatever minority community you want, whatever you want, you set it up. I'll see if Lee Zeldin get there.
All right. I think it's time they address the black community
because Lee Zeldin wants the same things you want. Lee Zeldin wants to be able to walk the streets safe. Wants to not have bullets fall on his doorstep 30 feet from his children.
Yeah.
He wants to not have the man when he's on stage upstate New York giving a speech attack him with a knife.
Yeah.
That's the same thing. I don't care who you are.
Yeah.
Correct?
I think violence is attracted to him. I just thought about what you said, a little succession of things that happened to him. He violence prone. I don't know.
And the problem,
Lee Zeldin, be careful, man.
Here's the problem with our state, Link, is the majority of our state, is people of, we all think alike. We all want safe communities, good schools, good schools. The problem is with our state, the majority of the voters come from New York City.
Yeah.
Over 9 million people live in New York City. That is what's pulling the pot.
Yeah, because they make up.
New York City's life is not the same as my life and your life.
No.
They're making the laws for us out here.
Right.
So those progressive Democrats that come out of New York City and go to Albany are making the laws for the people up in Albany, Binghamton, Schenectady, Montauk. It doesn't seem right. Because what goes on in New York City doesn't go on in Wyandanch.
No, I think Long Island is its own animal too. It's although we are part of New York State, I don't think we function as any part of New York, whether upstate or the city. We don't function like any of them. So I definitely believe that we need somebody like, and this is what I like about Lee Zeldin. Lee Zeldin literally is an around the corner from me dude. You know what I mean? I know that he experienced life the way I experienced life.
Grew up in William Floyd School.
He graduated from there.
Correct. What is that? And when you know the makeup of that district? Is that a wealthy district?
It's becoming.
Is it a wealthy district?
Depends on where you at. Now, I don't want to try to play magic. Don't get me to try to play.
No, I'm not playing. But the district in of itself is made up of a lot of different minority communities. Correct?
Yeah.
Spanish, black.
It's a nice blend.
Mexican. Whatever they may be. White.
I ain't seen no Mexicans.
Okay.
Out there.
Well, Guatemalans. I don't know.
It's a nice blend.
Whoever's sneaking in across the border, which is the other problem we'll take up on another show. We got a major issue of immigration in this county.
Across the border.
We have Joe Biden taking these people across the border in Texas, shipping them off to New York because we're a liberal democratic state. We're just all supposed to pay for it. You know who's paying for it, ladies and gentlemen? Me and you out of your taxes. Link, you pay taxes, right?
Yeah, hell yeah.
You want to put,
I'm already paying for it, bro. So it's not.
Okay, but when does it end? When does that money go to your kids? You're saying the government doesn't give back to the kids? Yeah. We're putting people from other countries in this, wasting our money on that, which should go to your children, my children. That's what should be going on. Stop taking these illegal immigrants in here and putting them in our state. We'll be back next week. This is Bob Macedonio. This is Street Legal. We're here every Thursday, 103.9 LI News Radio. My firm name, Macedonio & Duncan, 126 Carlton Avenue, Islip Terrace, 631-582-3232. Remember, you want to stay free.
Call BOB.
Call BOB.
Yo,